You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Thank you, Glenn Fry. This is episode 266 of the IT in the D Show. Guests this week include Jamie Began from Right Brain Networks, Bob Cuny from from Blue Newt Software. We're going to be talking all things the cloud, right? Isn't that what you guys want to? No, we're not talking nothing cloud. We're going to be talking about some cool new software trends and some things with entrepreneurs networking. Also, we got Pierrette and Kevin Hasenhaus from Merit Networks.
They've been here before.
They've been here once or twice. Pierrette wrote a book. So there's going to be a ton of cool topics we're going to be hitting.
Hey, before we dive in, WGU is an online university that's changing lives by changing higher education. WGU is affordable and offers degrees in business, IT, and healthcare. Their innovative learning model is designed to fit the lives of busy adults. Many industry certifications are included in their IT degree programs at no extra cost. If you already have the certifications, they transfer so you can finish faster. WGU graduates work in positions of responsibility for leading companies like Microsoft and Apple. Get your $65 application fee waived at wgu.edu/IT-in-the-D. That's wgu.edu/IT-in-the-D.
And Dave, you may fire when ready.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Following program is intended for mature audiences.
I'm Wyatt, that's Gary, you're Bob, and you're Dave. This is the IT in the D Show.
This is Max Headroom, and what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
This is Billy D. Williams. Bob and Dave and I are enjoying a Colt 45 right now, and remember, IT in the D, it works every time.
Just where do you guys think you are?
The Library of Congress?
Detroit?
Beyond the sun?
Any of those right?
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come! Shut up!
Hi, this is Jeremy London from Mallrats, and I'm just wondering, how did I go from Hot Floridian Sex with Brandy spinning to the IT&D show?
Hi, this is Christy Swanson, and you're listening to the IT in the D Show. And Bob and Dave touch my hoo-hoos.
What happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bumhole?
Exactly. Come on. What the hell with this? I'm calling a break. We'll come back to the D Show.
This is Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley, and the only two guys I hate more than Dinesh are Bob and Dave. Suck it, guys.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT in the D Show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the beak off.
Hi, this is David Kay, the voice of Professor Xavier from X-Men Evolution. Storm! Come here, Storm. Sit on my lap, Storm. You're listening to IT in the D.
Are we at a break yet?
Hey everybody, this is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. You're listening to IT in the D. And if you want to get your money's worth, stay right here. And remember, everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT in the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds.
What is a nerd?
Hi, this is Ogre. You listen to a bunch of nerds on the IT in the D? Nerd.
I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Hey, Detroit, this is Anthony Michael Hall. You're listening to my buddies Bob and Dave on IT in the D.
Hey, what up? This is Jay Muse, and you're listening to the IT and D Show. Snooch to the nooch. Listen, Muse, Snoogans.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump. IT and the D Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
I'm totally into Dave, but not so much Bob.
This is Robert Hayes, Ted Stryker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D Show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat steak.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D Show. Tough guy. Ho!
Hi, this is Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science.
So,
Bob and Dave, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Now buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
It is 2 days before TEDxDetroit, and I'm literally crapping my pants. What is going on? This is episode 2.
Wait, literally?
Literally.
That's what smells weird in
No,
here?
it's figuratively.
Okay.
Did I
That was the
get
last
that
show.
Yes.
backwards?
Yes.
Figuratively.
Tentacles, NT.
All right. Yeah.
Big difference.
So, hey, this is episode 266 of the one and only IT and the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob the sales guy hanging out with Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG, Randy, I do the Twitters, Walker is doing the Twitters.
Look, my shirt has thumb holes.
Oh, get out. Get out.
I think Randy's excited for the winter weather, maybe.
Seriously,
I need
get
a
out.
bell for the first official Shut Up Randy of the night.
We're in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Find us online, itandthed.com, and do us all a favor. Give us a like on the socials and subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
IT security is imperative to every organization. But what if implementation costs are too high? Attend one of the largest cybersecurity training events in Michigan for free. Merit Networks Workshop will teach you a variety of low-cost solutions to stimulate IT security protocols within your institution. You can attend Security on a Shoestring in person at Merit's headquarters, at one of the participating cyber range hubs, or attend online on September 27th. Merit's workshops are designed to provide IT training and security staff on industry standards for security policies, best practices, and national frameworks. These workshops are provided at no cost, thanks to Amerinet, ADVA Optical Networking, and Juniper Networks. Visit merit.edu/shoestring to register today. That's merit.edu/shoestring.
I love when we do those, Dave. We like stutter over every other word. We're like, blah, blah, blah. We mess up stuff, and then Nuri like
shoestring.
One take, and he's like just like money every single time.
That's why he gets paid.
That's why he gets paid to do that. So yeah, no, we
need
don't
to make a thing here. Like when you try to mess me up, like we need to have our guests like intentionally try to like do stuff.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. Can we have the next one, please?
Yeah. So all right. So hey, we like we were just talking about. We've got TEDxDetroit. Wednesday, Bob and I are speaking, and in typical us fashion, about 2 hours ago, we finally actually sat down and did our presentation.
You're not supposed to tell people that.
And everybody who knows us knows this is our lives and what we do. We emailed that off.
They were so polite about it, too. Like, gentle reminder, guys. Gentle reminder.
Yeah.
Like, gentle reminder.
So gentle reminder.
Finally remembered to send in our pick and bios for them that they've been asking for
but
weeks.
If you're
love you, Charlie. Sorry.
Not sorry.
So
sorry.
sorry.
If you're keeping score at home, we got the we're at 4:00. We're hitting the stage.
We are.
And they're giving us 8 minutes to talk about God knows what.
I mean, I think we have a vague idea, but
that was going to be our opening line, actually.
Yours.
Yeah, more than my wife gives me. 8 minutes.
Joy. And then, hey, also mark your calendars on September 29th. That is a Saturday down at the Detroit Shipping Company where we have our new studio, and we also have the new pop-up location for Falling Down Beer Company. There is a beer fest with about a dozen breweries going on. That's going to be going on from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m. There's going to be drunken karaoke from like 3 p.m. till 8 p.m. And then DJ Glockenspiel takes over.
I know that guy.
I heard so much about him.
I know. And turns the a mass of shipping containers into 80s night extraordinaire. Pretty sure you're going to want to be there.
All 80s, all the time.
I've already booked a hotel room because I know I'm not making it home that night. Just game over.
It's not a bad idea.
So, hey, before we dive in, I just want to
have one more event.
What?
Tuesday, October 2nd is our casual networking event in Ann Arbor.
That's October.
It's next week.
That's not physically possible.
It is.
The weather outside says otherwise.
Oh, it is next Tuesday. Damn.
It is.
Oh, I did that. No, Saturday I go, I'm going to book a room at Frankenmuth for Oktoberfest because like I'm going to get ahead of the thing and I'm going to find a room early and I'm going to get ahead of the game. And I Google online, when is it? And it's today.
It's last week.
It was last week, the day of. I was trying to look it up. I'm like, oh, really? Like literally it's I can't keep track anymore.
But hey, our Ann Arbor event is at Pretzel Bell at the downstairs bar. Starts at 5:00. Join us.
Cool. There are no pretzels and there's only one bell.
There are pretzels.
I've seen the bell.
There's pretzel bites.
Right.
Hey, before we get started.
Ryan, can I see that paper for a sec? Huh. That's odd. I thought that would be big news.
You thought what would be big news?
Well, there seems to be an absence of a certain ornithological piece. A headline regarding mass awareness of a certain avian variety.
What are you talking about?
Oh, have you not heard? It was my understanding that everyone had heard.
Heard what?
Brian, don't!
Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird, a word, well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird, a word, well, a bird, bird, bird.
Where is this going?
So Saturday, our good friend Neil, who, as you know, was behind us when we got started for all this nonsense, announced that we were going out for brunch. Which was odd.
Which I've never had.
We've never done brunch.
I either go to Ramshorn or like I go to like get a bagel at Tim Ho's.
See, brunch is code word for shit show.
Right. Now that I know that.
Yeah. So we meet, I'm going to say 10-ish because I was a little late.
We were there at 10.
All right. Well, some of us had shit to do. And so then there were double shot Bloody Marys involved, which led to, hey, let's go check out basically every bar in the city, which led to a phenomenal event taking place outside of the Detroit Shipping Company. The floor is yours, Bob.
No, so, we're sitting there at the bar and we're doing shots of Jägermeister and other accoutrements. And so, what would be really funny?
And this was stop 5 or 6.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
And they said, it'd be funny. Let's get Bob on a bird. It was a little, if you don't know what a bird is by now, it's those electric scooters everybody's riding around.
Now, the
downtown.
best part of this is that Neil actually started laying the groundwork for this at Bobcat Bonnie's, the very first start. He was adamant that there was going to be a bird scooter involved somewhere over the course of the day, and you were adamant that it was not going to happen. And with each bar and each drink and shot that took place, you were less and less adamant.
No, and then so basically he found one like 3 blocks away. He goes and brings one over, and then with me with my yelling, like pretty much I was like Tommy Boy yelling at that point in the day, and I basically there was a crowd. And I look up and you guys are filming. Then I look and there's like a sea of like 20 girls. Like I'm like, why are you filming me?
Because it was amazing, Bob.
You looked great. You were totally Steven Seagal.
Right. That was awful.
Boo.
So if you ever seen me, my center of gravity is like right around by my neck, and I never had. Like, I never skied. I never skateboarded. It was never my thing. I played every sport known to man, but, like, those things me no do.
So balance is not necessarily your highest forte.
I was fine. No, as long as I'm, like, playing basketball or soccer, I was fine. Golf, I'm fine. 2 wheels, 4 wheels.
So feet on ground,
fine.
Good. Feet
Wheels,
not on ground,
no,
not good.
Skis
Gotcha.
bad, everything bad. So I decide so I stand up on the bird and I push the button and it doesn't go.
Nope.
And
Did
then
it squawk?
No, nothing. It didn't say get off. I hate you.
One person at a time, please.
No, like you got to move it. Yeah, no. Only
shit.
But did it? It didn't. So like then you say you got to get it started. So I kick it a little bit and then push the button. It doesn't go. Now I'm getting frustrated. I'm like, this damn thing doesn't work. So this cute little girl goes, watch, and she gets on it. Whoop! She whizzes down the street and brings it back, and I'm like, no, I don't like this at all. So finally, like 2 people had to push me from behind until the thing kicked in.
It was very, very similar to, for those of you with kids, teaching your kid to ride a bicycle, where like, you hold onto the seat and they keep saying, don't let go, don't let go, don't let go. And then you let go and they don't know that you've let go and they're just off and running on their own. Suddenly there was Bob whizzing down the sidewalk.
Well, not only that, I went into the street and there was a pickup truck pulling down and I'm like, uh-oh. And then I go down the other end of the street and literally the handlebars were shaking back and forth. This was not a smooth experience.
Well, I mean, it's Detroit roads.
Well, that too.
There's that.
And I thought I was going to go on to Cass, and for like one split second, I go, nope, just turn around and stop. You've done everything you needed to do.
You did.
Dave has enough film to mock me for years.
I've got enough to lay a soundtrack underneath it and turn it into a short for the next film festival.
No,
it's amazing.
And I still didn't understand that we're going to have Andy on next week, who's been collecting them in the middle of the night and started a charity to give them to kids. Yeah. I still don't get the business model. It's like, here we are. We're going to buy 700 of these things. And we're going to drop them off in the middle of the night in random cities.
They're about $400 each.
Yeah. I'm sure they got a discount or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go to all these different cities and just drop them off in the middle of the night.
Without telling anyone.
Right. And then it's like, go figure out why this thing's laying on the street, and then you got to scan it, and then you get to ride it.
Make it up in volume.
And they make it up in volume, right?
But unless they're, the city of Ann Arbor, which has just basically said, nope. and is driving around collecting all the birds.
No, what's it called, Bob? You were telling me
What, in Ann Arbor?
where they're
The
putting
margin.
them.
They can only be in the margin.
No, where they're putting the birds that they're
the
collecting.
Bird cage, yes.
They're calling it.
They're impounding them to the bird cage.
Yeah.
So calling it but like again, someone told me their valuation is $2 billion. They haven't been around that long to even have a revenue model, let alone like something you could base that on. I was just
thinking about the guy in Ann Arbor who's like the bird catcher, and he's walking around culling birds. Like,
so you're paying per minute. How much did this episode cost you?
I don't know. Neil got the bill because it was his.
That was because great friend that he is. Neil did deactivate it on him right as he was getting ready to stop anyway. So Neil, because you can shut them down through the app. And so Neil shut it down.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was going good. And all of a sudden it just stops, and I go, "Why is it stopping?" And he's like, "You're all giggling." I deactivated it. And I'm like, I could have flipped over the front of that thing, you buttholes.
That's not how it works. It stops the back pedal. It's your back wheel. You're fine.
Oh, it stopped slowly, but I was like,
"You were fine."
I was sad. I wanted to keep going.
I always wanted to fly.
So yeah. So something else weird happened to me this week, and that was fun stuff. Something really weird happened. We've been talking for years and years on this show about how, Facebook listens.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk about, hey, let's go to Aruba 10 times. There's going to be ads for Aruba. This one, you guys got to help me out and figure out how this happened because I'm mind boggled.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there watching Saturday. We're getting ready to go. No, this was Sunday. Getting ready to go to my kid's soccer game.
Okay.
And a big box shows up, and my sister-in-law came over. My wife bought plates. We've been talking about, we haven't had new plates since we got married. So it's like 15 years old plates. And we're like,
okay,
let's go buy new plates. And I know we're getting old because she got excited about it. I'm like, that's getting excited about it.
It's exciting to me.
Yeah. My God, is this where our life is? We're excited about like our new plates.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, right? So like we're barely talking about it. And like, it was such a random, it was like a Food Network and they're like really like copper and I like, oh, these are nice plates. And we talked about it. Well, I opened Facebook and the first thing I see is a Kohl's ad. What's the first thing I see under the Kohl's ad? These exact same freaking plates. Now let's take it back a second. My wife doesn't have Facebook.
Right.
She shipped them to my mother-in-law's house because we have the weird addresses in our neighborhood and stuff gets ruined all the time. She didn't want it to go to a neighbor.
Okay.
It's heavy. So like she bought it with our credit card.
Is it your name or her name on the credit card?
Hers.
Okay.
Like we each have a different number because I got mine stolen so many times that one year.
Right.
But like she never sent them to me and said, "Do you like these?" Like she just went out and bought them.
Did she ever like forward you a order confirmation?
No,
anything
nothing.
like that?
Zero. And like literally these were the first sets. I'm like, this is way too random, and I don't understand how. Like,
so this is where you get it. So, and we've talked about this in the past, where there's something theoretically I've played around with, this large, enormous marketing database that's out there. Where we know who the purchaser was, we know what her home address is because of other stuff.
But it went to my mother-in-law.
Doesn't matter.
We know her name.
Billing address versus
went
shipping
to my
address.
wife's name. Yeah,
billing address versus shipping address. So we know what the billing address was. That what's that billing address? Who else is at that billing address? You from every T-shirt that you've ever bought from Facebook online.
Speaking of which,
so you're priority number one when it comes to Facebook ads.
No, speaking of this,
well, hold on.
Because of Nuri's trip going to Peru. And me saying Lake Titicaca 8,700 times.
Right.
A T-shirt comes Motorboat Champion 1979 Lake Titicaca, and I had to buy it.
Of course,
but I'm like, it's stupid. Like I'll go. How did they? They knew it would trigger me to buy it.
Right.
Like we'll buy.
So back in that, like I said, back in that database, they've got that correlation between her and you and that address, and therefore, that's how that nonsense happens.
Did she use a computer at your house?
No, she bought it on her phone.
Which is on your same
Which is
account.
on your network.
On the same account.
Right.
Which is on your
Or
network.
wireless.
But she's not on Facebook.
Doesn't matter. It's back end database that serves all those ads, Bob.
God
But
damn
what
it.
good is it though? Like she's bought the plates.
That's
Why
what I don't
should you
understand is
have
why
the
they
plates?
show it to you after you.
Well, that
bought it.
happens. Everything I ever buy, I see ads for it for 6 months after. Especially on like high ticket stuff. I'm like, I just bought it. Like
bizarre.
Are you enjoying your new plates?
They're amazing.
They're very nice looking.
Oh, the Copper Food Network ones. You looked them up.
Randy's already hacked you.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's
Actually,
using
Randy is how you're getting all those ads. In case
Right. You pushed them. I'm like, that was the one. I understand all the spoken word stuff because they're listening, and that was the one that just.
It's all the back end database.
Yeah.
So it's a thing. Could have been worse. You could have been trying to buy fruit in Manassas, Virginia.
Good thing like it's not a ship.
Manasses, you say?
Yeah, Manasses in Virginia.
I didn't
Yes.
get that. That's perfect.
Good thing he's not a shipped shopper.
That would have been horrible. So basically, long story short, Dude Manassas decided to be a great idea to go ahead and pull his pants down, rub fruit all over his ass, and then put it back on the shelves.
You know, there are many ways to determine if fruit are ripe. Some people
I've never heard
it,
that one.
Some people thump it. Maybe rubbing it on your ass is some new way to...
Who knew? I got nothing. But yeah, they had to destroy several pallets worth of fruit as they arrested him for food contamination, destruction of property.
Didn't. The people harvesting them are shitting on them while they're picking
No, they
them.
destroyed pallets of fruit. They said there was
they didn't have to, though.
They said he didn't show signs of mental illness either, so I wonder what his motive was.
Can't you just wash it?
I mean, isn't that a sign of mental illness?
He didn't show signs of mental illness. He just rubbed a watermelon in his buttocks. Like, wait, what? You know, I can't quite tell if I enjoy this or not. Now I enjoy it. Okay, I'm going to buy it. No, it's like the same guy at at Comerica Park. Oh, it's the grossest video I've ever seen in my life. The supervisor yelled at him. He was like the pizza guy at Little Caesars at Comerica Park. And he hocked a loogie and then put the sauce on it and then cooked the pizza. And he wanted this was him getting back at his boss.
That's the grossest video you've ever seen?
No, I've seen some of the videos you've shared.
This week.
That is not,
this week.
Right. Just clarifying.
But now they basically had to fire the guy and they had to throw out all the food. And he published this video. This is how stupid people are. Publishes this on social media to get back at his boss of him spitting in pizza.
And so speaking of getting
fired.
But
there's a special on Snot and Reddy's at Comerica Park this week.
Speaking of getting fired over social media, idiot Detroit cop, basically new hire, not too long out of the academy, decides it's going to be a good idea to post on his Snapchat a picture of him in his squad car with the message "out to wrangle," and he couldn't even spell the word wrangle right. He spelled it like Jess's last name, not the actual word wrangle. Wrangle. Up all these zoo animals. So he was suspended by 5:30 that afternoon
and fired,
and he was fired today.
You know, and he worked at the 12th precinct, which is in my neighborhood, which is arguably one of the nicest set of neighborhoods in Detroit. I don't know what he's talking shit about. Like, he could be out in the middle of Highland Park.
Your house, Nuri.
Yeah.
Have you seen the miscreants?
You know you're hiring young cops when they're doing Snapchat pre-shift. I'm just like, what? When you're in public service, like if
can't have their actual body cameras on and working, but Snapchat fully functional.
No, like if you're a nurse or if you're a cop, firefighter, like just stop. Like
just do your job.
Like if you want to take an Instagram going, kids are in the fire truck, cute, fine.
Those firemen can keep doing those calendars though. Those are good.
Shut up, Randy. Disgusting.
So something interesting came out of the recent spate of hurricanes. Apparently 5 kilo bricks of weed are just washing up on beaches in Florida.
Which beach is this?
Road trip.
That's because of the hurricane or because someone dropped it off a run?
Well, no. So they're saying that it's probably due to at least one capsized boat because it's an awful lot of weed.
There's about 100 pounds for the last 2 days. And what happened was there were a bunch of people like pulling this brick apart. Somebody called 911 and spoiled all of their fun.
That's why we can't have nice things.
No, see something, say something, but not when it's weed on the beach.
Right. Like, how harmless is that?
And what my funniest story, though, about that was that there was a 61-year-old gentleman who was arrested because he is apparently holding a brick of it in his car until law enforcement arrived.
Right. That's my story.
For a friend.
I'm sticking to it.
It was 4 kilos. 3 kilos. I swear it was only 2 kilos.
That's all that was left. That was
So this is remember how we always complain about how like the news will say like, hey, there's a new drug on the street and here's how to
it's killing your children.
No, and here's how to
find out about it at 11 o'clock.
Smoke it and here's where to buy it and watch this guy using it. Well, they came out with an article about Amazon putting empty boxes on truck drivers to test their if they're going to steal or not.
Not empty, just fake.
Or fake, whatever. Yeah. But now you just tipped off all the truck drivers to
this is what they're doing.
Right.
It's like when you're at your company and they say, we're going to do a test for social engineering over the next couple of weeks.
Right.
You get that weird email. You're like, I know what you're doing.
It's a trap.
Right.
No, but even with that,
about people still click
75% of the time.
75%.
It is a wild number.
Yeah, those like I've already gotten like 3 of them. I fell for the first one and there was like, you don't want to be on that list. So now I'm like, okay. Some of them are just bad. It isn't like, okay, here's our corporate newsletter, which they would be smart. They would do that, like try to emulate your corporate newsletter and say, hey, here's the new PDF on our new product, right? And then you click that, but they make them look ridiculous. So,
can I tell a quick story?
Yeah, please.
Shipping and weed. It'll bring them all together, these two stories. So I have an office in Phoenix. One day my office manager calls me and she says, hey, we got this big box. It's addressed to the office. Nobody here has any idea what it's about. What do you want us to do with it? And I said, well, open it. This is what we do with boxes. So we open it, and she asked because it was leaking fluid.
Isn't that supposed to be like number one sign that it may be explosive?
That you don't open it?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they were in Phoenix. I was here. It was fine.
Did you say lime? Like Christmas vacation.
Right. So they open it, and it's just packed with drugs. It's just like straight up packed with drugs. And so apparently, at least out in Phoenix, one of the delivery mechanisms, they ship stuff to a place where they expect the door to be locked. They know when it's going to be delivered.
To leave it on
and they pick it up straight. It's like stealing packages off your porch, except more expensive. So it was mind blowing to me that this happens.
That seems risky.
Life. It's risky, but if you show up before the cops, you're fine.
Or if you do it 5 times out of 10 successfully, you've got a good drop.
Right. Or if you let somebody else do the work for you.
Genius.
Yeah.
So, security. So we're always worried about breaches. We're always talking about breaches and, everything that's going on. The story this week is hands down one of my favorites. You don't have to worry about the dark web. You don't have to worry about hackers. You don't have to worry about data aggregators. You just have to worry about a company going out of business and not paying their warehouse bill for all of their database servers. And thereby 15 years of data from the NCIX company wound up just being sold on Craigslist.
Which is one of the largest hardware resellers in Canada, or was. And so the story is like absolutely fascinating.
That's crazy.
Wait, walk me through. Hold on. Company goes out of business and
does not erase their hard drives.
Right, but that's fine. But then they have tape drive. Are these tape drives or are these hard drives?
No, they're
backups.
Servers.
Okay.
Boxes with drives.
So those don't get repurposed condition, whatever.
They went to auction. This guy bought them off of auction, and he was selling the servers and even just the data or copies of the data on Craigslist.
Yeah, you don't have to buy the hardware. You can just come take a copy of the software for X. Yeah.
This guy went to his this weird abandoned warehouse, followed this dude up the stairs. He said he was super freaked out, thought he was going to die, and then the dude's kid walked in and he was like, "Okay, I'm fine." Explores the servers, looks at the SQL tables, found 258,000 credit cards stored as plain text.
Jeez.
Copies of IDs, email addresses, unsalted MD5 hash passwords, which basically could just say unsecure passwords.
Yeah.
Right.
Crazy. And he basically could get all of it without buying the hardware.
And I'm sure it went for what, $200-$300? If it was
$1,500 with the server.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Nothing ceases to surprise me anymore.
No, it really doesn't.
You know what doesn't surprise me? That Apple is giving you secret scores now on how you use your phone and your email. Kind of like when you realized Uber was rating you when you got out of your car. You're like, why do I have a 4.8? I never farted in a car. And like now.
My name is Bob Walensfield. I'm going to shit in your car. No, but I kind of understand their rationale for this, where they're trying to shut down botnets, fake accounts, and that kind of stuff. So
using iPhones?
So they're checking what is the usage of your, are you actually using your phone like a normal human would use a phone to check email, send email, respond to things, that sort of thing. Download apps, are you a typical user using a phone, or are you potentially a bot or somebody in a click center that's just doing nothing but downloading apps and leaving artificially high ratings and that kind of stuff?
But these scores, aren't they kind of like the Black Mirror episode that wasn't very fulfilling? So I rated it a 2.0.
Oh, totally.
They're anonymized. They're not able to
sure
link
they are.
to a person.
Sure they are.
How do they shut them down?
I trust Apple more than I trust most.
No, it's giving users a secret trust score. Yeah, no, it is individualized. Again, nothing surprises me anymore.
Although, hey, Chrome, speaking of which, lovely, phenomenal little flaw or feature, I guess we should call it, in the latest build of the Chrome browser that went out. If you fire up Chrome and then you use Chrome as your browser, and you sign into Google services, your account, whether it's checking your Gmail or whatever else, it just goes ahead and uploads all your browsing history. Right to Google servers, just for shits and giggles.
So you're going to get ads for plates now in your Gmail.
Right.
Right. No, hold on. What happens if you're at a public library and you sign into Gmail? And bam, it's going to basically log
It's going to upload,
up to your Gmail.
There's a whole lot of potential flaws with this, where it's a horribly bad. Well, they've already released a fix for it. So I mean, if your Gmail or if your Chrome is like auto updating and that kind of stuff, you should be fine already. But just stupid, dumb. Because they're there. Well, we just wanted everybody to like make sure that when you were signed in, you had your bookmarks and everything.
Yeah, what
else.
it did is automatically logged you in and created your profile on the browser. So if you didn't log into the browser, have a browser profile, logging into one of the Google services created a browser profile for you.
And logging out of Gmail probably doesn't do anything to the browser.
No, of course not.
Oh my God.
So we'll end up with a couple stupid Facebook things that I don't like. One is, so apparently, Facebook has 2.2 billion users apparently that use the platform. They've built an AI platform called Rosetta to basically collect and categorize everyone's images that are being uploaded in real time. So this is we knew that they were doing facial recognition because they noticed me in like the a stadium picture of like, hey, there's 60,000 people at Ford Field. You want to tag you?
Yeah.
Like, how'd you know it was me? But this is like
big head.
Big head. I know. And I was wearing that hat. I know.
Well, what was interesting is they said not only are they going to be categorizing the images, but they're trying to be contextual about it, which was weird because they specifically mentioned words on images. So I'm like, are they trying to categorize memes?
Well, I mean, you could search Facebook or Instagram for text. So the pictures are going to pop up, even if they weren't tagged as that. So that totally makes sense to me. But then pulling it out of videos. So basically, you're pulling text, and who's knocking on the door? The other story that pissed me off this week was the Ticketmaster revelation.
Oh, well, we knew this was going on, and we just didn't know how.
So basically, Ticketmaster held some crazy conference in Canada, and some reporters went with hidden cameras, and they said that they were scalpers. And basically, we found out that there is a secret Ticketmaster professional reseller program, a web-based inventory management system for scalpers, basically because Ticketmaster gets fees on that as well. So Ticketmaster is basically getting double fees out of this and even higher because they're oversold prices tickets.
Well, they were about 5 years late to the game with StubHub, and they pretty much own that market. But now, if you notice, like if you look for buying concert tickets or game tickets, they're bundling them together where you need to really be really careful as to like if it is a actual open seat or if it is a Ticketmaster verified resold ticket. Like they're bundling them together as if it's the same thing, which is, sometimes I don't care. Like I bought my Lions tickets. I don't even remember if it was real seats or resold seats. I just wanted to go. But yeah, that's, and they're charging crazy fees.
And apparently the company representatives told the people who were there undercover that they have a resale division and it turns a blind eye to scalpers who use bots and fake identities to get tickets, which Ticketmaster has categorically denied.
Oh, of course they have. No, but this is their thing, isn't it?
It's a big effing scam is what it is.
Well, that's when concerts get sold out in a minute and a half?
4 seconds, yeah.
Right. Like, oh, come on.
Taylor Swift tickets.
Did you?
Not really.
No. Are you gonna? Nuri, Randy, are you guys gonna use the new Facebook dating app?
I might give it a try.
I thought it already was.
I thought Facebook was So when I heard about this, I'm like, wait, what? And then Zuckerberg comes out, and he's
like he just like swiping, like the Facebook equivalent of swipe right is like finding somebody's 4-year-old picture and liking it,
right? And then liking it, and then liking
We're
it.
sending random messages to people who have cute pictures, telling them the picture is cute, right? That works.
Oh God! Sometimes I get lost on Instagram and don't realize I've scrolled back like 4 years and like a picture. And then I was like, oh, crap.
Well, Zuckerberg actually came out and said, this isn't for hookups, it's to build meaningful relationships.
Like, so is Tinder.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So good luck with that.
Kind of curious to see how this goes. One of the former heads of Google has said that by 2028, the internet will be split in two. There will be the US-led version and the China-led version.
See, I read that and I'm confused because I always thought Google gave special rules for China for the censorship and for all that stuff. So isn't there already two?
No. So, I mean, like, basically what they're talking about is, so, like, right now there's essentially one ring to rule them all. There's, the central DNS servers that all internet traffic routes through. what they're saying is, and even the Chinese internet, like there are firewalls, the great firewall of China, that basically, blocks content, filters everything, sends it through proxies and all that
Just
stuff.
today, they blocked another 2,000 websites.
Yep.
Wait, so are you talking China's not going to peer with the outside world?
Exactly.
Oh,
so
God.
that's
North Korea, right?
Yeah.
North Korea
so
does the
that's
same thing?
Yep. So that's the thing. So once those requests get passed, it's no different than say, like you're sitting at home and you go through your Comcast router and then it goes out to the open internet. So China, you still get, if your request makes it past the Great Firewall, it still goes out to the open internet and off you go. So this would basically just eliminate that rest of open internet, and it would all be within, like they would have their own ring.
So basically it's going to be like Dancing Banana and the Trollololo guy. Like 30 years from now is like going to be the hot internet meme in China.
And videos of cats, because cats are very
what was the
calming.
year?
Right.
2028.
Okay, so don't we have internet by space by then? Isn't that what Elon is doing and everybody else? Are
Who
we
knows?
free and clear of this problem?
But they're not going to peer with space.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah.
We'll take care of that somewhere else.
Exactly. So speaking of peering in space, we're going to be back with Jamie and Bob from Right Brain and from Blue Note. This is the IT and the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit, one beer at a time.
Hey, this is John Snyder from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland, Secret Lives of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back, segment 2, episode 266 of the. Oh, you missed it, Dave. The math. 250 episodes past when Bob thought we'd run out of shit to talk about.
That's a big number too.
Yeah, exactly.
As I like to call it, Bob's wrong plus 250. Yeah.
This is episode 266 of the one and only IT and the D Show, hanging out in Studio 1 here in Podcast Detroit. Beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob the Sales Guy. That was Dave the Geek. Nuri the FNG. We might have a rename. Nuri's been the FNG for like 3 years. I think it's time to rename him.
It's
so
time.
we might have a contest.
Have an FNN for the FNG.
Maybe we'll figure it out. I don't know what that means either, but we'll
new nickname.
Oh, Randy, I do the Twitters. Walker is in house doing the Twitters, drinking a tab. What year is this?
It tastes like the 70s.
What year is this? Yeah.
80s.
Find us online, itinthed.com, because guess what, Skippy? We are IT in the D.
And you're still not. And I feel like that's probably going to come out Wednesday when we're on stage.
Hugs and kisses.
Mwah.
Wow, we're gonna give you a beautiful little shout out on Wednesday at TEDx. If you didn't hear the news on segment 1, if you're not at TEDx Detroit on Wednesday, you're gonna miss out on us. I don't know what we're making fools of ourselves.
Pretty much.
And then
doing what we do.
Right. Which is fine. That's what we were hired. That's why they put us in the humor category and not in the anything else
serious
category.
Business,
right.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah, like don't take these guys seriously because they're buttholes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm fine with that.
They knew who they were getting when they
exactly.
asked us. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, but we are joined and appreciate spending time with us. We got Jamie Beegan's here from Right Brain Networks. Bob Cuny's here from Blue Newt Software. Gentlemen, thank you for being patient. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah, totally.
Good.
Thanks.
So, I said, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about like what the cloud is, and Jamie just got this look on his face, like I'm going to kill you.
I've been talking about the cloud for 9 years. Anything else?
So what? So can we rename it? Would that be? Can we go there?
What do you want to call it?
Dude, I was angry when they named it cloud, because back in the day, every good internet diagram had a cloud on it. And that cloud represented
was the internet.
No, every cloud that was just shit you, the client, don't worry about.
Oh yeah,
just you don't care about what happens in the cloud. You don't worry about what happens in the cloud. Just things happen there, and then other stuff comes out the other side, and you're good.
See, I worked for an ISP, and our cloud was with the lightning bolt in it. And that was the internet.
And then they went and named something. They ruin all our fun.
We call it VAX.
Oh, that'd be facts. Shared hosting. No, but you've been doing this a long time. I mean, you're one of the original pioneers of AWS. If I'm not mistaken, that was out of your mouth, right?
Yeah, I mean, kind of we're an AWS consulting partner. I think probably the first couple dozen or so back in 2011,
right?
Like that, when cloud was kind of a new thing. Kind of early adopter and. Kind of made a business out of it.
I mean, who would have thought back then, oh, that's cute, Amazon selling hosting. I mean, literally, who would have thought they're dancing with Microsoft and they're dancing with Google and they're beating both of them. And well, some might argue, but literally, it's unbelievable that they're selling their access capacity and built this huge business that so many people are relying on.
Yeah, and highly profitable. One of the few pieces of Amazon that's actually very profitable.
Yeah. So, Bob, we were talking pre-show, and you made a comment called digital twins, and I thought you were making it up because you were being funny. But like
any relation to the Jenga twins?
No, not that. Oh, I like the Jenga twins, or the Wonder Twins. But like, this is a concept that's new to me, but I kind of understand it. But like, talk to me. What are digital twins?
Sure. First, my CTO prompted me to do this, so I'm just throwing out ideas that he's already had. No, so like all the stuff that we were talking about earlier about ads and craziness on the internet, like happening to you for no good reason.
Right.
This is that. Digital twins are this idea. And we do a lot with IoT. We track stuff. I can't tell you any of the things we do that are the cool things that we do, because we signed NDAs and that's all a big pain in the ass. But, we do cool stuff. And the stuff I can tell you about is we're building models of things, digital models based on data that are representations of things that exist in the real world. And we're using those models to make decisions about what happened to those things. So, for example, one of our customers is dairy, megalopolis. I don't know what they are. They're huge. They do lots of things with cows. And we're helping them build software that tracks those cows, where they are in the barns, what they're doing, how they're experiencing the world, Fitbit for cows, combining a bunch of data about cows, including crap about cows, all together in a big digital model of that cow, so we can help the farmer direct their attention at the cows that need their attention the most.
So do they replicate behavior where you can do this?
We measure stuff and we try to infer behavior, right? We try to look at all the data that's flowing across the system, and we do this for all sorts of different industries.
So basically you're playing Farm Simulator all day long.
It's Farmville.
Yes.
Or it's the start of Westworld.
Yeah, there's Black Mirror in here, there's all this stuff, right? But it's all together, it's the real thing, but this digital model of a thing, a cow, we do digital models of shipped goods, right? Trailers and parts. These are the things that the internet and modern software makes decisions on. And at the end of that, bought a microphone there. At the end of that, there is a you or a cow or a real thing that's affected by this digital model having an effect that we think is the right effect that needs to happen to you. So we're serving ads about the lawnmower you just bought for the nth time to you because we thought that, what you really need now is 2 lawnmowers.
See, I got a conspiracy theory now that companies like him go off and box this up and then they sell it to EA, and then EA boxes it up and sells it to kids as Sims.
As Detroit Becoming Human?
No, there's a show. Or there's a game.
Yeah.
I meant a game. No, but I meant like all the simulators and all
Fortnite, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was just simply a model of people act. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's fascinating stuff. And we use the clouds as well. I've heard good things about that and the tubes.
Yeah.
Lots of really great stuff.
It's all about the tubes.
The tubes. Oh,
We
so
do the
good.
internets. Do you do that?
Yeah.
No, I worked with Al for a while on that, but no, we don't do it these days.
We're back to faxing.
Back to fax.
It's much more reliable, more secure too.
So I mean, this is the stuff that fascinates me because we had I remember who was on here that was talking about they take all the stats from bikes, like mountain biking, like the ones that are up and they basically can wrote simulation platforms and software platforms to learn on
Well, because they're working with the connected car standards committees,
right?
To basically hey, this is bike behavior around cars. Let's look at car behavior around bikes and figure out how to build safer bike lanes and all that stuff. Yeah.
So Jamie, do you love the what's next question as much as we do?
What next about what?
I mean, you're building kind of next gen software platforms, right? You're using a tool, but obviously you're so what's next? I mean, obviously we're seeing a lot in IoT. Some of it's good, some of it not so much, right? What do we need? But I mean, what's up? Is there anything you're seeing up on the horizon that might be news and noteworthy?
Yeah, I mean, kind of part and parcel with the whole cloud thing is DevOps, and we were kind of early to that game as well. One of the original organizers for TEDxDetroit, which I came on here with 3 years ago to promote that, which is actually coming up again in a couple of weeks. TEDxDetroit, cool place. Long term though, I actually see that going away as well. DevOps is essentially kind of IT operations to support developers. And I think what you're going to see that tend away, and IT itself is going to actually disappear because you're going to see the ability as a developer. I'm just going to upload my code into the cloud via these different PaaS platforms, and it'll just magically work. I just put my bundle of code in there, and I don't need IT guys to actually make it work. It's just going to work by itself. I think we're quite a ways away from that one, probably at least 5-10 years, but that's kind of where I see things headed.
How do you think that works in a shop where you're using like vendor solutions that may not have traditional code? Like I always hear this in work, like you must get this into a dev pipeline, into Kumo or something to get it to the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
But when half your applications don't support that, what's the fix for that?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the big reason why PaaS isn't more prevalent these days, because you can make 90% of an application work, but it's that 10% stuff that's going to prevent you from actually making it work. So I think you're going to see a lot of legacy code continue to hang out in the way it has been for a long time. But a lot of the newer applications that are being built from the ground up to take advantage of some of these PaaS platforms, those are the ones that are going to kind of work more seamlessly. So yeah, I think there's going to be a long time before we're all completely in that direction.
So you guys are part of a pretty interesting group collective that I've honestly never heard of, probably because I wasn't invited for just reasons. No, but
now you're in.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. Yeah. But no, it's what EO, Entrepreneurs Only.
Organization.
Sorry, Entrepreneurs Organization.
Both,
or it could be both.
Yeah.
But
they have a jacket with little clips on the shoulders.
Right. It's like Farmers Only, but for entrepreneurs.
It's very
but basically, the rule is you gotta meet a certain threshold for revenue, and you're not allowed to sell to one another. I guess talk to me about.
Oh my God, it's the coolest thing since sliced toast.
So being the sales guy, I'm like, this is like a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, no, it's better than a nightmare. So Entrepreneurs Organization, it's an organization that's, I think, 30 years old. A rich history here in Detroit, an organization that in Detroit has been around for 20 years. We are the best kept secret in entrepreneurship. You might have heard of some other organizations, none of which I will name because they're out there and they do a better job of promoting themselves. But it is about entrepreneurs connecting with other entrepreneurs, sharing experiences of what they've experienced. So you run a podcasting company. I heard talk of ordering different business cards because titles are changing. All these sort of routine aspects of people management, cash management, strategy, execution. Those are these fundamental cores at every business. If you're podcasting, if you're building rocket ships, you're managing the same similar problems again and again. So Jamie does IT, I do IT. Our problems are kind of relatable to each other very directly, but we were in this group of our first cohort in EO. A woman made candles. Her business of making candles was our business of building software because we had to deal with humans. We had to deal with
so much easier without them.
It'd be much easier. I can't wait. Robots next. What's next? Robots. But it's all about us getting together and learning from each other. To grow better businesses, to grow better leaders, to grow better entrepreneurs, to grow better communities of people engaged in building the next thing. So,
yeah. I mean, that's how I met Bob originally. Yes. I actually, he interviewed me, which I didn't know he was actually interviewing me. I thought we were just sharing a coffee, but apparently I made the cut. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of lonely. I mean, you start a business and you keep beating your head against the same wall over and over again, and you just think you're like the worst business person in the world. Then you meet other people and like, well, he doesn't know what he's doing either. So at least we're all in the same camp, making the same mistake. So it's if nothing but at least reaffirming to be kind of I mean, it's part support group. I mean, kind of a tenet of EO is that we don't give advice, we experience share, and that may sound kind of swishy, but what it really means is that it'd be somewhat presumptuous for me to know where Bob's been and to kind of tell him what he ought to do. But if I have a relevant experience that might relate to him, I can share that, and then he can take it or leave it. And I'm not forcing it upon him.
It's like coffee and a cigarette, and you're like, "Hi, I'm Jamie, and I'm an entrepreneur." Right. Hi, Jamie.
No, did you share something?
It's Entrepreneurs Anonymous.
This Monday, I tried to sell something. Oh no!
Yeah, and for being an entrepreneurs organization, it's got the worst name ever.
It's
got the worst IT ever. It's got tons of problems, but the cool thing is it's member-led, it's member-driven, it's a nonprofit, it's 13,000 entrepreneurs around the world, and you can call any one of them at any time and ask them for a conversation, a coffee, help of any kind and style you might need. It's just truly an amazing group of people who are really committed to growing amazing businesses, and it's awesome. So the only requirement is you have to have employees. Basically, the revenue requirements are $250,000 and up. There are programs to help grow your business. There are programs to help scale your business. There are regional conferences, national conferences, local stuff in almost every major city and minor city too in the U.S. And around the world. Some of the places that are growing like rocket ships right now are Africa, Southeast Asia. Chapters springing up almost daily. It's a crazy, cool organization, and it's not about selling you something. It's not about whatever. It's about making connections with other people who are doing the same thing, walking a mile in your shoes.
Well, when we started IT in the D, that was the big deal. Was even though I was a sales guy, I knew that chamber events and all these events that were going to, these networking events, were poisoned by, buy my insurance. Yeah, here's my card. Buy something from me.
Who's managing your 401k these days?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there are other better business networking groups that's solely why they exist. Yeah, EO, it's prohibited. I mean, if you get caught soliciting, you'll get uninvited really to the chapter. I mean, occasionally people will do business together, but it's kind of an organic thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd be kind of hard, right? Because if I start to hang out with you and I like you and I got something going on, why wouldn't I?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
We do. And Jamie and I have worked together on a bunch of the things. Other people in the organization
Well,
and I have worked together.
it's kinda like-
attorneys from another part of the
Yeah.
sector.
It's kind of like I'll tell you what I do and we'll build a relationship. And if you want to buy from me, then I'm here, but I'm not going to ask you.
Absolutely.
Right. Which is, it's perfect.
That's how it should be.
It's the way we wanted it to be. We've thrown a few out there going, well, they don't want to work for Aflac. No, it might be great, but this is not what this is for.
Not,
you know what I mean?
not here. They don't.
Right. No,
not here.
You can go somewhere else and maybe it's great, but not here.
Yeah.
All these
so
worlds
you
are
guys
yours
come.
except Europa.
Are we allowed?
There.
Yeah, no, you should come. You should come to. We have meetings every quarter about these core days where you sit for 8 hours and you focus on your business. You do nothing else. You don't pay any attention to what's going on in the podcast world. You don't pay any attention to what's going on in the real world.
I'm out.
This reminds me of the Bishop conversation with Danny. Like, you should come to our Lutheran Center. Are you Roman Catholic? Yes. Well, then you can come. Like,
So it's super cool. It's a really interesting experience. It's changed both my business and my life in a lot of ways that are really powerful. It helps me be better at almost everything I do because I have people to talk to who know that journey.
Right,
So
right.
It's awesome.
No, it's a sport group. Yeah.
And my name is Bob, and I'm an entrepreneur.
Are there 12 steps or is it?
Oh my God. There's so many steps. You make many of them a second and third time.
Right. Yeah. So is it EO on, what's the,
EOnetwork.org.
EOnetwork.org.
Is the website. And there's just a ton to learn, and you can always email me, Jamie, and just Google. The Google knows.
The Google knows everything.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Surprise.
Right.
Yeah. So
what else is going on? Anything?
What else going on? I don't know. Bird is the word I heard.
Well, you're an advocate. So we had a little bit of an argument. You were an advocate. That's not your main mode of transportation now. I'm just being.
I could think about retiring some other modes for that. Yeah. So no, a couple EO buddies and I went to a conference in St. Louis last week. In St. Louis, I didn't expect it. It just landed in Ann Arbor, which is home for me. And so, like you noted, Ann Arbor has a little bit of controversy about it, which I think is just brilliant. I almost swore there.
Well, it elevates the people know about it now that wouldn't have known about it.
Right. It's guerrilla marketing at
Right,
its finest,
right.
and it starts the conversation with the people who have to make the decision. It forces the conversation.
Well, it's like Nike. You ruffle a little bit of feathers. Now everyone's talking about it. And it's like all of a sudden you just got free
Did you
marketing.
see that article? Like how Kaepernick was worth $6 billion in stock appreciation to them?
Eesh.
What?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How much does Trump report on his taxes? No, never mind.
Does he?
I'm just asking. Anyway, but that sort of number is
Well, let's be honest.
fascinating.
Rich middle-aged white men are not Nike's target demographic. They don't care if
Yeah,
you
no,
burn
I
your
already
shoes.
got my
They
shoes
don't.
on
Yeah,
fire.
yeah. Suburban housewives. They don't care.
Right.
We buy Skechers. They're more comfortable.
No, but I think it's a fascinating marketing ploy, and I don't know, just this continued disintermediating of traditional modes of stuff, right? Transportation, other things.
Still so bizarre to me. Just like any business, just like we're gonna pop in the city and we're gonna drop all this crap off.
Somebody
And
chose to invest in that. Somebody said, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll write you a check for $100 million to build digital trash. You can just litter them in any city around the world. We'll figure out the money later.
well, you heard what they're doing in California,
we need
right?
friends like that.
Well, they're getting burner phones and they're getting burner credit cards, and they're throwing them in the off the Santa Monica Pier. Yeah. There's like a whole movement in California. Like there's
There are
there's
pictures of trash cans just
Drown the
full
birds.
of birds.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
well, that's what you get. I'm sorry, but like you know.
Where's PETA now?
Right.
But hey, how do we find you online, Jamie?
How do you find me online?
Yeah.
Me personally?
Or your company.
Oh, okay. The company's rightbrainnetworks.com. I'm sure you can find me on LinkedIn. So.
Sure. And then BlueNewtSoftware.com or
We're totally off the grid.
You're off the grid?
No,
NDAs and all, right?
blue-newt.com or bobcuney@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Find me there.
Cool.
Appreciate the time. I look forward to seeing you again soon. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with Pierrette and Kevin from Merit Networks. This is the IT in the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hey guys, it's Time Hawk, Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You're listening to the IT&D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back. Segment 3, episode 266. This is the one and only IT in the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio 1 in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob the Sales Guy, Dave the Geek, Neri the FNG, Randy, I do the Twitter's Walker. Find us online, itinthed.com, where you will find all the things.
All of our stuff. And again, don't forget, Wednesday, TEDxDetroit tickets are still on sale. You should go if for no other reason. Dude, tickets are not that expensive. And to see us
sit in the front row and mock you mercilessly.
That's what I'm expecting from everyone that we know that's coming. I'm expecting distractions galore and just chaos and mayhem, and I'm going to love every minute of it. And then Saturday the 29th, we've got the thing down at the shipping container place with the beer fest and then karaoke and then DJ Bob doing his thing.
Oh my God.
It's going to be amazing.
4 hours of the worst 80s music you have ever heard. I mean, the best. I mean, the worst.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's a safety dance on repeat. Enjoy.
For 4 hours.
Right.
On loop. The extended dance remix.
Let's see how long we can keep people in that place. So, hey, speaking of the safety dance, we have our old friends from Merit Networks in the house, Purette, and we have a newcomer in the house, the new CISO, Kevin Hayes. What is going on?
Hey.
How's everything? How they treating you?
Treating me pretty good. Not bad for, 3 weeks on the job.
You came from Wayne State, right?
Yep, been at Wayne State for about 9 years. Before that, doing their security program then, and then jumping in the fire here over at Merit and their CISO gig.
Okay.
Have they given you the keys to the executive bathroom yet?
Oh, hell no.
You're not supposed to tell them that. The bathroom is a lot nicer, I'll tell you that right now. It's all fancy stainless steel. The important things in life.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on at Merit these days? This is it's our little.
Well, so let's be real. I mean, I think we've had this conversation before. Like, it is the CISO position nothing more than a position created by the CIO to keep him from having to sign the documents that can get him sent to jail.
Oh, he can still be sent to jail. I'm very careful as to what I sign.
No, I wanted to take this opportunity. Kevin has a really forward-facing position in our community, and he helps set the tone and help all of our nonprofits, government, higher ed, educational institutions, and K-12s really be aware of what's coming in the threat landscape. Merit is a nonprofit organization, so his role is really to help everybody understand what's coming up and then what are the things they can do to either improve their security posture or mitigate against it. And everybody knows and loves Jason Brown, but unfortunately, fortunately for Merit, Jason's moved on. So now we have Kevin Hayes from Wayne State. So this is really his opportunity to come at all of those communities with a really fresh eye and kind of help us understand what's next, what should we be looking for, what are the things that especially low cost, small businesses, small organizations do to help them protect against what's coming next.
I was going to say, what's the, looking at it from a mile high view, what's the biggest difference between working in a kind of a bigger, public sector versus private sector organization on how they view security? Are they looking at the same stuff, or is there different things that are gleaming, or what while you're squirming?
So, I mean, the priorities for the most part are relatively the same. It's just, the matter of execution. Like, what kind of resources did you have to actually be able to, figure out what's going on and make sure that you're actually doing the things that you're supposed to do so that, your shit doesn't get hacked, your data doesn't get leaked, and you don't end up on the front page of the frickin' newspaper.
Right. You can still have the best security policy ever, but if you're not executing on it correctly, then it's basically worthless, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can say that you're doing whatever you want, but at the end of the day, are you actually doing
right?
it?
What's your organizational compliance?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I mean, that's one of the biggest issues. I mean, you look at, the educational sector, nonprofits, government, typically wind up lagging behind on this stuff because it's not a high enough priority. They don't have the budget for it, stuff like that. So, I mean, like how do you tackle that in that environment?
Yeah. So it's interesting that you mentioned like the budget and everything because, it's looking for good people. Is really important because, at the end of the day, you're going to have a person who's going to have to figure this stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, hey, like, we got to make sure that all of our Windows boxes are patched, Linux boxes are patched, make sure that, everything else that we're doing is there. But like, if you literally don't have anyone that's like smart or competent enough to be able to, make sure those things actually happen, you might as well not even bother doing any of that. Nonprofits, you're not talking about an organization that's like a Fortune 500 that can actually throw like hundreds of security analysts at a problem.
I've worked for one before.
Yep. And eventually it'll get done. You could literally be talking about a company or an organization that doesn't even have a security staff. It's just Dave and IT, right?
And that's what it was.
He also does, he does email, he does the phone system, he does backups, he does the cloud, right? So
Yep, and he sweeps the floor in the in the off time because that's just other duties as assigned. That's
that
just
was my first IT job ever. I had the key to the janitor's closet, so not only did I do the servers and the phone system,
also in the janitor's closet.
I was also in the janitor's closet. Yeah.
The first
but that's where the phone system was. So
we actually had a server room in our call center. We did,
the first ISP I worked for, which was technically a tier 1 because they connected to the apps, it was in a closet. The Cisco switch was in a closet.
Right next to the bucket and the sink.
There was we had air conditioning in there that we had to go to. We had to basically remove the water. There was no plumbing. So we had to basically run the water out to the public bathroom, every morning. Yeah. And we were selling this to every ISP in town and they all bought because we were the cheapest.
Water?
Yeah, that too. That too.
This is distilled server water, guys.
Right.
So one of the things that Kevin was telling me earlier that I thought was really interesting is that some problems that particularly pertain to higher ed, I think could be applied to any kind of business. And that is convincing people that are not in a tech firm that there are bad guys out there and they really are actively targeting you. So I know that we talked about last time when we came in that the highest growing target for hackers, nefarious attacks, phishing scams, anything like that is small to mid-sized businesses.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason for that is specifically because large-sized organizations can afford the hardware, software, and security personnel that can protect you. Small businesses can't do that. So right now, and I'm sure Kevin can kind of elaborate on this a little bit, but he said specifically in higher ed, he saw this. And I think anybody out there that's listening that doesn't work for a huge business will see the same thing, that when you're trying to sell IT upwards, sell security upwards, whether it's budget or personnel or the importance, that's a huge problem for everybody. Mm-hmm. So Kevin, I guess that's, I think one thing that you could impart to everybody is how do you sell security upwards or IT or the seriousness of those threats that are coming at people?
Yeah, you really have to make it personal. And it's one of these things where you're not going to have like a one size fits all. Like you can be like, hey, like we are totally going to buy this like security training module video, it's 15-minute video and just like shove it onto all of our employees and say, you must watch this. And, everyone groans and they watch the little video and they're like, I get to learn about, not clicking on phishing emails. Next. How quickly can I get through this?
We actually had a contest at one of the companies I worked for is who could click through that the quickest.
Can I ask who your vendor was?
I don't remember. It's been a couple of years.
Oh yeah, because like when I deployed some security awareness training before, like I had users who were like, yeah, I totally figured out how to open this in 5 different browsers, so I can get through all these training modules without watching them. It's like,
oh shit, I got to try that.
Yeah. Please don't. So it's like, so it's like Jesus Christ, like I'm trying to teach you guys on how to like be some kind of secure, and you're fighting me. But where I've really found the most success is actually to customize it like for small, like really small groups. Like you really want to talk with like, hey, finance people. Let me tell you about a couple things that, like you literally will see. You'll see people try to like send you like face invoices and shit.
W-2 scams around April, right?
To me.
Yep.
No kidding.
So
$30,000. Yep.
So this is stuff. Yeah. So this is stuff that like literally, for the most part, only that group is really going to care about. And they're like, hey, wait a second. I deal with this on a daily basis. Yeah, this is important. Yeah. Or you talk to HR and you're like, hey, you really want to make sure that like you actually keep your Adobe Reader actually patched when it, comes up with a new vulnerability every other week, because people are going to send you their resumes and their PDFs and then you're going to frickin' open them.
Oh my God, it's 2018. Nobody needs Adobe Reader anymore.
That is a whole nother podcast.
Right.
But, we go and say, hey, don't open attachments. Whatever you do, don't open a goddamn attachment. And yet here we are, like a business function. They literally have to open up this stupid PDF.
But this says the CEO sent it to me.
It says he needs me to transfer a bunch of money right now.
Right.
Because the internet never lies, right?
You were literally describing this email that was sent to my CFO.
So how much, and that's a good question too, how much of of what you're looking at is insider threat versus like we always talk about hacking in, but I mean, I think with more insider theft's a bigger threat.
Sales guys with thumb drives.
So definitely the potential for really, really bad shit to happen is of course a lot more with insider threats, because now you have people that actually like know your culture. They know like all little buzz phrases, little words. They know like where to send things from and really how to get your attention. It's getting more and more of a threat, but obviously just the massive amounts of, attacks, phishing, social engineering that come from the internet, at least for now, that's still like overall the biggest thing. When I was at Wayne State, a typical thing on a day was, I think, like 25 million unsolicited, network packets were dropping every single day, like 25 million attacks. Every single day.
Jeez.
And that's not even counting email. I think email, we were talking about 90 to 95% spam that just no one ever saw every single day.
Buy that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now if we're talking about like a small or medium sized business that doesn't have those resources, that can't actually like pay the whole boatloads of money for, advanced spam filtering or like Proofpoint or anything like that, like how do you even try and keep up? It can be really, really difficult when like literally the entire world is against you.
Mm-hmm.
So if the biggest threat then, from what I'm understanding, forgive me, because this is probably the first time I've hung out with Kevin. He's all right so far.
Good.
Yeah, I'm giving 50-50 shot, right?
Thanks.
So, if you're telling me that for any small or mid-sized business, the biggest risk or issue here is human capital, what do you do?
Again, the big thing is really looking at, your employees and those real small, business functions. You want to tailor your messages, and actually make sure that, the meat sack or the meat space behind the keyboard is actually going to hopefully not do the bad things that allow the attackers in. The big things with regards to like all the, phishing attacks and social engineering, more often than not, that is how the attackers are going to get in the first time. You're talking about, whenever you look at like the Target attack, the Home Depot attack, like anything like that, the DNC hack, all that started with a freaking phishing email. Like that's how it all began. Mm-hmm. So, identifying those, basically that one key gateway, that person, that hopefully not too terribly stupid person that could potentially click on something and either let in the malware, release their credentials, anything like that. That is where I think you can get the most value, and even even small businesses can address that, because you're talking about sitting down with someone and understanding what they do on a daily basis. Like what's your job?
And that's getting so hard though. I mean, these spam attacks are great. Like was it the Capitol that was recently breached? Some branch of government. They created login pages that looked exactly like Microsoft's SSO pages with URLs that were very similar, right? This isn't the poorly worded English email back in the day telling you to put in your login and password to a badly remade Google page. This is really professional shit nowadays.
English, yeah.
Right. This is really good stuff. How do you, I can't even imagine trying to get your organization to.
No, it's hard to tell, because as I like to jokingly say, it's like there's the 10-second version of trying to like socially engineer someone where you're putting up the crappy web page and the misspelled email, and then there's like literally the 60-second version where you can run like social engineering toolkit, and it can like just scrape a Google page, scrape an Office 365 page, scrape your own institution's page. And yeah, like I can go on Namecheap and I can buy a domain for 17 cents. And then like literally for under $1, I can start trying to, fish credentials and try and, get people to do things that they really shouldn't do. And it's difficult because, again, if you're talking about like a small business or a medium-sized business, they have one IT person. They don't have a security person. And so how do you try and impart that knowledge onto, your 100 or so workers at your organization, that, you really can't click on shit. When you hover your mouse over a URL, how do you actually read that URL? Like I had to teach people that, because, you do something crazy like have a phishing, a URL that you hover over, and it's some like really, really, really long URL, but you still had your they put your organization's name at the very end because they figured out that like they could put a subdomain in there.
Right.
And, they're authoritative over the entire domain. So it's like, well, it still had my company name in it. So I thought it was safe to click. So like you have to teach sometimes some of these bare fundamentals. But thankfully, There's only a couple of them that I found that you really have to go for, and they're applicable both at work and at home. And that's really how I try and focus on it as well. To say, hey, like I'm teaching you how to be secure, and then when you go home and you're buying stuff online and you're accessing your bank and you're doing like your own stuff and spending your own money, this helps you there too. Actually, helps you more there.
We do. You happened to mention earlier in the podcast online and in-person event that we're going to be offering. So Merit is actually going to be hosting one of the largest cybersecurity training events in Michigan for free. And we're tailoring this for nonprofits, but anybody can join. And these are free and no-cost solutions to prevent things like exactly what Kevin was talking about. And that's going to be happening this month. And you can register today by going to merit.edu/shoestring. So it's all low cost.
Say that 3 times.
That's merit.edu/shoestring.
Oh, I got to trip you up, homeboy. I'm going to give it a much harder one next time.
Very good.
But anyhow, so exactly what he's talking about, we're going to be teaching to everybody, and it's a free workshop or a webinar. And even, if somebody's listening to this later on, we're going to have the recording of the event on there, so everybody can listen to it.
Awesome.
I heard you just got back from the White House. Is that right?
Yeah.
How was that?
Technically, it was the Eisenhower Executive Office. So I know we've talked a couple times about the cybersecurity talent gap, the education gap. A lot of people, ISC Squared is citing 1.8 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs by the year 2020.
We talk about that constantly. It's crazy.
And this is actually one event. So this was sponsored by the Office of Management and Budget.
Those are the people that call you when they're doing background checks for federal security clearances, right?
Yeah.
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 So
and also leaked all that information last year, right?
That leaked all that information. Yeah.
That's why they need all the people.
Right.
Bad. So Merit was one of the 50 organizations. They had this event last week where there were actually 600 or 700 people that attended, and they had some conferences and seminars and things like that. And then afterwards, they invited 50 organizations to stay back. And they were all broken up in these very small roundtables. And these roundtables were specifically designed. People asked questions. How do you fill the talent pipeline, help economic development, help with telemedicine, all of the things that every single one of us in this field are facing every single day. So I suppose it was reassuring that the DOD and the Office of Management and Budget and the White House, they are very actually concerned about it, because Merit was invited, and I went on behalf of Merit to talk to them about basically brainstorming potential ways that we can fill this talent gap.
Like stop drug testing your hackers?
That's actually very interesting. So in one of the roundtables, I was sitting across from someone very, very high up in the government, and I can't exactly say who it was. But that's one of the issues is with the DOD, when you are going to be hired for any kind of clearance whatsoever, they're asking you, have you ever done anything illegal? Have you ever done any illegal drugs? And the higher up you get in these positions.
Not last week, like ever.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so they are finding that particularly with young folks who have these skills and certifications, they're having a few issues with that. So they're starting to look at.
Duh.
Yeah. So this is not what I was supposed to be talking about, you guys. But no, one of the things that they talked about was actually looking at not laxing that a little bit, but extending that particular time period. So, in the last 5 years, have you ever done something illegal, something like that? Because that's how desperate they are to fill people. So I thought it was really interesting. Folks from the National Science Foundation, from for-profits, from nonprofits, from consulting groups, the DOD, the CIA, like the Department of Education, everybody's there actively trying to brainstorm ideas to fill this talent gap. And then what was going to happen with that information afterwards is that was all going to get distilled into a report that was going to be sent, to our legislature. So I think that it's at least heartening to see that it's something that the government's going to be taking very, very seriously. I did want to talk about just briefly, and I mentioned these things to them, to specifically in Michigan. I mean, we're looking at hundreds of thousands of unfilled cyber jobs in the next 2 years. And that has all sorts of implications. So that has implications with the homework gap, with, I mentioned telemedicine, with economic development. The things like that are critical to the security of our state, to the cyber readiness of our state, to the defense of our state. And if we don't have those security personnel, we really will be left behind. We'll be subject to talent drain.
I think about voting and our civic responsibilities as well. Like that's a topic that's hot right now, that most states are underprepared for cybersecurity and voting, which that's our democracy.
One of the good things, my kid's an incoming freshman this year, first year. It was great to see that there's coding classes, there's networking classes, there's security classes, things that kind of didn't exist. When I was coming up, it was WordPerfect and Corel class and garbage, but it's actually well done, well put together. So it's good to see they're at least trying to get exposure.
Well, yeah, you guys have the high school program going on as well as the cyber ranges.
We do. So this year, the Governor's High School Cyber Challenge in the cyber ranges, Merit's working actively as part of our nonprofit mission to build the cyber talent ecosystem in our state. So with the High School Cyber Challenge, we're up to about 600 students this year. This is our third year where students participate in a cybersecurity challenge to test their skills in a real practicum environment. We've built a virtual city where you're going to actually encounter things like DNS and servers and, email directories, active directories, things that you would encounter in a real world. And it's kind of a backwards. You try to hack them to plant your flags or plant your beacons inside of the city. And one of the interesting things, I spoke at the NICE K-12 conference last year. They found that the number one reason why students don't go into cybersecurity as a career field is simply because they've never been exposed to it. They don't even understand that that is a career that they can go into. So we've actually partnered with the Michigan Department of Education and the state of Michigan. And this year, we're still recruiting students. The top 30 students will actually go on to the Governor's Cybersecurity Summit. And we're awarding all of those top 30 students with a cybersecurity certification boot camp and a certification for the voucher, or a voucher for the certification exam, which enables them to enter the workforce in an entry-level job at $50,000 to $60,000 a year. So on top of that, we've also got a large number of Michigan Cyber Range hubs. Cyber Range hubs really act as cybersecurity ecosystems in the state. So we've got them positioned everywhere. We've just opened one at Tardec, and we're opening a new one at the Western Michigan Center for Cybersecurity. And all of those in Grand Rapids, in Detroit, we've got multiple ones throughout the state of Michigan. Not only offer these certification exams, they offer areas where you can teach more than 42 of the certs. You can train your cybersecurity workforce. You can do incident response planning, and then you can do product testing like penetration testing and things like that. So we're really looking to build the ecosystem from high school to college to workforce retraining, veterans. We're looking at differently abled folks and seeing if they have skills that kind of match up to it. So that's just one part of Merit's mission, but it's a really big one that we're working on to kind of contribute to that.
So, and you guys also do conferences periodically. I know you've got another one coming up, I think November, if I recall correctly.
We do. We have one on November 13th. So we have a cybersecurity summit. This is going to be at the Henry Hotel in Dearborn. The aim of this is to help both for-profits and nonprofits have a better understanding of, again, and this is where Kevin really comes in handy, the threat landscape, things that are coming out there. We're looking at capture the flag events. We're looking at things such as security autonomy. We're looking at critical security controls from the CIS. We've got some car hacking demos. We're looking at cheap and easy implementations for threat intelligence. So it's very heady, technical, crunchy information. I think you guys may be attending as well. That's really exciting. And we've actually created a promo code for anybody that wants to attend. So that event is $99, which, reminder, as a nonprofit, we're really just breaking even here. But if anybody wants to attend, tickets are $99. We've got 50 of them left. And if you use promo code ITandTheD, you can get $10 off.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yay.
So if anybody wants more information on that, you can go to merit.edu/summit.
That's merit.edu/summit.
Oh, those dulcet tones.
I will pay you later.
All right, cool. Thanks.
All right. What? Anything we didn't hit on?
You know, that's all I have for right now.
I mean, it's not like you guys can't ever
Yeah.
come back ever.
You always have such great things to talk about when you're here, too. I always love having you guys on the show.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited to start working with Kevin. I think he's going to make a really big difference in the nonprofit community here, and we are very lucky to have him.
Drinking from the fire hose is always a good thing.
Why not?
Exactly. But hey, guys, appreciate you coming out, and I look forward to seeing you at events and back here.
Yeah,
Thank you
very much.
Absolutely. This is going to wrap things up for episode 266 of the IT and the D Show. I'd like to thank Jamie Began from Right Brain Networks, Bob Cuny from Blue Newt Software, also Pierrette and Kevin from Merit Networks. Also like to thank WGU for keeping the lights on. We sincerely appreciate it. On behalf of Bob, Dave, Nuri, and Randy, do us all a favor. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Long live Flash. You've saved your ass. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name?
Murphy.
Make the run.
The run.
Game over, man. Game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth. Rude.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
Joe, own the truth.
Fear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would Buick put their cars next to the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing.
The alphabet.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't take that position.
That analogy sucks because it's right.
Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up.
Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just doing stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city.
I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team. Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.